The Mishnah says in the end of Bava Basra, what's if a person is a guarantor, but he was a guarantor after the whole loan was done? So you could still collect from the guarantor, but not from his not from his fields, but from his money. That's what Rabbi Shmuel said in the story, that there was a case like that came in front of him. Not true. You can't collect. Shmuel said to him, why? So Banana said, a person loaned his friend money, and he finds him in the marketplace, says, where's the money? The guy said, I don't have money. So he gets so angry, he grabs him like this. He's choking him. So a friend comes over, he says, take it easy. Let your head, let go. I will pay. I will be a guarantor. L'chaim. Potter. Shaloi almanasa hilvo. He's potter because when Reuven gave the money to Shimon, it wasn't because the guarantor said, give him the money and I'm going to be responsible. That's not how it went. Reuven gave money to Shimon. A year later, 2 years later, the guy is a deadbeat. He's not paying. So Reuven gets angry and wants to choke Shimon to death. So Levi says, take it easy, I'll pay. But that's not a real guarantor. Guarantor means that at the time of the loans, he guarantees the loan.
Before the loan, not
before the loan, not now, 2 years later, right? Exactly. Rabbi Shmuel said, a person that wants to become smart, should learn the halachas of money. There isn't something in the Torah that make you if you want to be sharp, right, you should learn mominus. That's why in yeshivas,
a profession.
Right. Why in yeshivas do they focus so much on Maseches Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Basra? The theory is not that these three Masechtas are the most important. Why? Maseches Zvachim, Menoches, and Chulin are less important? Why Maseches Beroches, Demai, and Peah are less important? The pshat is that these three Masechtas, the theory goes, is going to make you sharp. So we want to sharpen the students in yeshiva, so once they'll have sharp minds, they can go over and learn the rest of Shas. Said,
the reason you teach it is so that people, the first thing a kid learns is their money's not their own, that's the Eibishter.
Ah, very nice.
Their money is what?
That the money is from the Eibishter. This is like a fountain that keeps on going out. Said Rabbi Shmuel, a person that wants to learn the dinim ominous yishamas as Shimon Benanas. I'm sorry. He should get shimush by Shimon Benanas.
You should be a shamash. You should work for him.
But you know what that means? That Rabbi Shmuel was arguing with Rabbi Shimon Benanas, and he said he's the smart guy, not I'm the smart guy. So he had an argument with Rabbi Shmuel. He's the smart guy, not me.
We all know that the Tanoim used to say to each other all the time. The Amoraim always used to say the other person is smarter than me.
Okay. They're all amazing. It's amazing.
Because when it comes to Torah, you know it's true.
It's amazing. Ma'isa b'ore b'fei Rabbi Shmuel, zok the Gemara. It's the end of the Masechta. Amar Abba B'chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan V'shekilus Rabbi Shmuel es Ben-Anas. Even the Rabbi Shmuel praised the other one. He praised Ben-Anas. Halacha Kamai said, Halacha is really like Rabbi Shmuel. That's what Abba says. The question. So the question was a person who obligates himself that he's going to pay the loan after the loan already went through. But the question is in this specific. Benana said it doesn't make sense. A person should be obligated after the loan happened. It doesn't make sense. If I'm say my name is Levi and I tell Reuven, you give the loan to Shimon, I'm going to pay it if he doesn't pay it. That makes sense. Afterwards, it doesn't make sense. But to illustrate his point, Benana said, Levi's walking the street and he sees Reuven is trying to choke Shimon, and he says, "Let go, I'm going to pay." So, it was only an example. But what happens in that case? What's really the halacha in that case?
Bananas was midget. Nanas in Hebrew is a midget.
I don't know if if his father was a midget or not. I don't know. What happens really in the case of Chonuk? Mali Amar Rabbi Shmuel, Toshma, Amar Rabbi Yaakov, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Chocholok, Rabbi Shmuel Av B'Chonuk. The Bemis of the Machlokes was also by Chonuk. Rabbi Shmuel didn't agree. Shmuel held that if I'm walking in the street and I see Reuven choking Shimon and I say let him go and I'm going to pay, I become responsible. The Gemara says halacha k'mayis and halacha k'mayis. So the halacha is like Rabbi Shmuel or not. Tashma the Chayil said Ovin Amar Rabbi Yochanan Cholok Rabbi Shmuel Av B'Chonuk halacha k'mayis Av B'Chonuk. That he was arguing. In other words, the Rabbi Shmuel opinion is even after the deal was sealed, I can make myself a guarantor, and even in the case of Chonuk, that I see Reuven is choking Shimon, it seems like I'm just trying to get him off his back. But Lepoil, if I said I'm going to obligate myself, I become obligated. V'alocha k'moisei. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Mishmuel Chonuk v'konim yoda mishtabed. Rabbi Yehuda Mishmuel says no. Only if I make a kinyan, I become obligated. Machlal the order ba'al maloi b'ay kinyan. But a regular order really would not need a kinyan. Pligad Rav Nachum order of the bezdin hoda lo b'ay kinyan or the alma b'ay kinyan. Okay, so this is a diversion from our main discussion.
Today you do need to do a kinyan.
We always make a kinyan for extra thing. We do a kinyan. The hilchas order of b'shas matan moes lo b'ay kinyan. The halacha is that but when the Reuven is giving the money to Shimon, you don't have to have a kinyan. Achamat moes b'ay kinyan. You do need a kinyan. Order of the bezdin lo b'ay kinyan. But if he's a guarantor in Bezdin, he doesn't need to make a kinyan. Because this pleasure, the mehemenle, that the Bezdin trusts him to be a guarantor, the Bezdin wouldn't trust any Tom, Dick, and Harry, any Reuven, Shimon, or Levi. They trust only certain people. So if the Bezdin will trust me, that gives me great pleasure and satisfaction. So therefore, I don't have to make a kinyan. So the way it's passed in the Shulchan Aruch, so we see back and forth. The question is if the halacha is like Rabbi Shmuel or not. But it seems at the end the halacha is not like Rabbi Shmuel. That the halacha is not like Rabbi Shmuel, and that only if you make a kinyan, if the Reuven already gave the money to Shimon, I can't come along and say, oh, you know what?
After it,
I'll pay the loan. B'shas Ma'isa is also then it's a in Bezin, not in Bezin.
you made a kinyan b'shas Ma'isa.
But afterwards I can't unless I make a kinyan. Afterwards, unless I make a kinyan.
Like by Chanukah over there, let's
Right.
make a kinyan. Then
That's a Pashup Shai. And then that's the halacha. However, the Yrushalmi says the whole thing fakir. The kids, according to the Yrushalmi, at the end the halacha is there like Rabbi Shmuel. If a Reuven attacks Shimon in the street, and he's choking him to death, and my name is Levi, I walk by and I say, take it easy, I'm going to take over, I'm chayiv, even without a kinyan.
And even if it's after the
Even if it's after the Alva, I'm chayiv. Yeah, look at the Gemara, the top line, Rabbi Yosef b'shem Rabbi Yochanan, Afa b'shekiltze Rabbi Shmuel bananas, al medrosh shekiltze, but like nina make bananas. He praised bananas, but the halacha is not like bananas. Shimon mevava b'shem Rabbi Yochanan, Av b'chonik halacha kerebi. Okay, Rabbi Shmuel. Omer Rabbi Yosef, v'achma minei barnash, to have a tzayid l'chavrei b'shukah. So you learn from this that a person that tzayid is like tzuda nafshi. He attacked his friend in the marketplace. V'osa chad v'mar, and a person came and he screamed out, Shafke, let him go. V'na yahav minanan novi, manahan loiga or gobi, minahan gobi, minahan loy gobi. He screams out, collect from me, don't collect from him. So then he becomes chayev like a guarantor.
I don't even know if it's after.
The whole, just by the conflict of saying who's halacha, who's who, the only reason that we have this capability of saying it is because the Pascal came out of Shemayim and says halacha ke'Rabbi Shimon or ke'Rabbi Nanas. Is that how the machriya who's actually halacha?
How the Chacham and the Beis Medrash?
Yeah, that they made a
Pashdus, they made a vote.
Oh, they do vote.
They made a vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe
So in
maybe
Bavel, there's a separate yeshiva. In Bavel, the Pashas, they made a vote and they came up to say
That's
that
why
halacha
Yerushalmi sometimes it's different
right,
than the
Yerushalmi
Bavli.
different. In the Beis Medrash of Yerushalmi, they came up with a vote or they came up with a resolution that the halacha is like Rabbi Shmuel. So the kid said, even though it's after the loan, and it's 2 years after the loan, and Reuven is attacking Shimon in the street,
He says, "Where's my money?"
and the Levi says, "Let him go, I'll pay," he becomes chayiv to pay. And the Bavli says, no. If he makes a kinyan, but just because he said, his words are cheap. It's not like, if I make a kinyan, I'm giving you something, you're taking something, you're giving me money, I said something. I see a guy's attacking someone in the middle of the show.
Something to protect him.
Yeah, okay. I have rachmanas of saying it, but doesn't mean anything. Machloikis. So then the Hadren, the Rebbe wants to explain what's the machloikis between the Bavli and Yrushalmi. And this was something the Rebbe liked to do a lot. The Rebbe says that the Pashtus, this goes into the general different attitude between Bavli and Yrushalmi. In Bavli we find that everything was very rough and tumble. No tzocher v'ves hamedrash. It was like, in Yrushalmi they were very pleasant to each other. Noichen zeh ba'alocha, they were very pleasant to each other. We find that the Gemara says, "V'machshakim v'chivani is a tabel Bavli." Bavli is in the place of choshech.
B'makel chovlin or b'makel
Okay, Noyam, exactly. Right. Yeah, Makel Noyam with the Talmid Chachamim in Yerushalayim, and Makel Chovlim they used to beat the guy with a stick. So that the Rebbe says is why there's a Gemara in Brochus. The Gemara says a whole story about Ben Zoyma, that he saw 600,000 people in the Harabayis when he was walking up the steps. And he said a whole long drasha, which we once learned. And then he said the bracha Chacham Harozim, which you say the bracha when you see 600,000 Jews. The Gemara says that's called the bracha on Uchlusa. Uchlusa means a huge amount of Jews.
600,000 is Shishim Ribo?
Shishim Ribo. Ki yoytze Mitzrayim.
In Hebrew it's Uchudasin.
Right.
How can you see 600,000? You want 600,000?
It's a huge amount, but he was because the Harabayis is like this.
I know that.
And he was in a high place, and he looked down, and it was huge, and he was able to estimate there was 600,000 people there.
500,000.
And they couldn't have heard. He gotta have a good
There
voice
was
because
2-3 years ago in Yerushalayim, there was an event. I forgot what it was, and there was a whole discussion about it because there was 600. No, there was an event, and people were saying the bracha of Chacham Harozim.
Yeah. But
Forget what it was.
they weren't in one place. It was
So that was a whole discussion. Yeah, if you could, if you can. There was a whole epis 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
I think it was the funeral of Abadi Yosef.
That's what it was?
I think so.
There was something. Yeah, it was a funeral?
No, before, no. It was,
There was something.
not the
Okay.
funeral, something else. I'll tell you what it was.
They were gathered together because of
It
the.
was the war, the Israeli war in Gaza, when they went over there. So they get together to do a tefillah, a big tefillah. And they sing all together, Shema Yisrael, Shem Hashem Echad. This is the
Where was it, in Yerushalayim?
Yerushalayim, yeah.
I remember it was
And
something
all
in
the
Yerushalayim.
from all over said to come to this Atzeret.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is the place, but it says.
I remember there was epis in Yerushalayim.
Yeah.
Okay, could have been more than
it was
once.
Yerushalayim, yeah.
So the Gemara says, Ein Uchlusa beBavel. In Bavel, it's Daf Nun Ches, Bavel doesn't apply. Some Rishonim say, it seems like they say, that in Eretz Yisrael there's a lot of Jews. In Bavel you're never going to find a place there's 600,000 Jews. But what's if there is? What's if there is? So the Divrei Chamuda says that Yidden belong in Eretz Yisrael. They don't belong in Chutz La'aretz. What kind of shot is this? That doesn't talk to me. I don't understand. What kind of shot is this? So the Rebbe has a Moeredik Pshat. A Moeredik Pshat. And he found a letter from a Rogatchover that Mamish supports this Pshat. If you have a minyan, yeah, what's a minyan? 10 Jews got together. So I always used to have this argument. There was this old professor. They used to tell me, Rabbi, we're 90% at the minyan. I used to say, no, we have 0 minyan. When we have the 10th Jew, then we have a minyan. 9 people is not 90% of a minyan. It's 0. Right? If you have a minyan, you have a minyan. You don't have a minyan, you don't have a minyan. You don't have 3/4 of a minyan. There's an inyan of a tzibur, that the Yidden are one unit. The Eretz Yisrael, because the Kedusha is intense, all the Yidden are be'achdus, And there's idea of 600,000 Yidden that are like one. Wow. Like the Yrushalmi says about Avos Yisrael, that if by mistake I hurt myself, accidentally I hurt one hand, the other hand is not going to say, okay, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. It's not shaykh. All the Yidden are one mamish, one guf. So how is it shaykh that I'll have vengeance to a Yid? I'll hurt another Yid. I'm hurting myself. In Talmud Yerushalmi, they could see the achdus of Klal Yisrael. They could see that Klal Yisrael is one thing. So therefore, when I see 600,000 Jews, Mitzrayim, it's an awesome sight. Wow. And we say the bracha Chacham HaRozim. When in Bavel, if you see 600,000 Jews, you're looking at 600,000 individuals. You're looking at 600,000 people. Just like when the Yidden came they got the Matan Torah. Okay, but when they went into Eretz Yisrael, Ba'arvis Moyev, they became Kol Yisrael Arevim Zebazeh. Mamish like that. And we say, Anistoris Lashem Elokeinu V'Niglas Lonu L'Vanenu. We say that Af Anistoris, the Yidden get punished once they went over the Yarden. Even if a Yid doesn't have a Benister, another Yid, all Kol Yisrael get
Achan.
Everyone gets clapped. Right. Why? Because all Yisrael are responsible for each other. They're mu'uravim. They're all connected to each other. That Aravos be'ikr, you see it in Eretz Yisrael, even though it's everywhere. Also, Chutz La'aretz, L'Poel, if another Yid has to make a mitzvah, I can make the bracha for him. If he has to put on tefillin, I can make the bracha for him. Because if I didn't put on tefillin, he didn't put on tefillin.
That's the thought of it.
Right.
You know,
it's
you remember you telling us the story.
Right. It's amazing.
You really didn't want to do it because it's not part of, you're not usually doing it, but you felt that if another Jew is not putting it on, but it's very difficult when you come also across a negativity.
No,
then you have a
you can't give an attitude of negative. Yeah. I can make a bracha for him.
No, but I'm saying.
Oh no! If a Tinash Nishba sins, it's not anyone's fault. It's not his fault. It's not anyone's fault.
We're not carrying that.
Right. Parshas. So, therefore, there's no uchlusa b'bavel. The Rebbe says that's the pshat. You could say it in two ways. When I see someone attacking someone, and I say, "Don't attack him," I'm going to pay. The pleasure is not so intense. You have to understand. If I'm standing in Bezdin, and Reuven doesn't want to give the money to loan to Shem, I say, I don't trust him. Bezdin says, you know what, we get a guarantor. A1, triple Aleph guarantor. Oh. And they call me in to Bezdin, and Bezdin says, you're the triple Aleph guarantor. How do I feel? I feel like $1 million. I feel good. So I got something. That pleasure, with that pleasure, I'm being mishabed myself. Okay? That's a big pleasure. Same thing, even not in Bezdin. If Reuven wants to give a loan to Shem, he says, I'm not going to give it. I don't know. You can pay back. You can't. If you bring me that guy, he's a guarantor. He signs. I give you the loan. So the guarantor has a pleasure because he is a trusted person.
Okay. That's in place of the Kenyan?
Right. That makes exactly. But here, Reuven is attacking Shimon. It's not like, what are they giving me maftish? They're giving me mafta yoina. They're giving me shlishi.
The pleasure is that he didn't get hurt.
Oh, he's not getting hurt.
Not me.
Not me. Otazoi. You got it. Shimon is happy. This guy was choking him, and he was and now Baruch Hashem, he could go home and live. Okay. But I didn't get the pleasure, he got the pleasure. Usually a guarantor, I get the pleasure. Bezdin calls me in and they say, we trust you. Or Reuven says, I'm not going to give him a loan. No. Oh, you say to give? You're a guarantor? Okay, now I'm going to give him the loan. I feel good about it. That's a hanoah that comes to me. But if he's choking that guy in the street, that guy gets the pleasure, not me. Elamai, because it's called Yisrael Arevim Zebazeh, and because he has pleasure, I have pleasure. In Talmud Yrushalmi land, in Yrushalmi land, they feel it that way. They really feel it, that if another Yid, they'd stop choking him, and he Baruch Hashem go home alive, I also feel good about it. Oh, so because I got the pleasure, I makna myself, I obligate myself to become an order. But in Bavel, where they don't feel that achtu so much, Okay, Baruch Hashem, another Yid is alive. It's very nice. But it's not my pleasure.
I feel more achdus over here when the Litvakas and the Babiches and the Chassidim, the Satmar and everything else over here is much
Then in
more.
Eretz Yisrael. You
It's
feel
not
it more?
so I will not talk about the Chaz V'Shalom. It's not Eretz. It's about the environment, that the contradiction that they come together. That's what makes it.
But now we're talking
everybody,
the ideal.
no, not because it's bad. They're all trying to say my way is the right way. To be in Eretz Yisrael, that's the right way to be. When you're here, everybody says we have to agree with the other person because we are all Jews around Goyim. You understand how it works?
I don't have a choice here.
Yeah, and there they have to show, and unfortunately, it's going the wrong way.
Unfortunately, there's Golos. Unfortunately, there's Golos even in Eretz Yisrael until Mashiach comes.
So how in Bavel, the next Talmud Bavli, they're not Achdus, they each one for himself. Bavel, it's a big thing.
There's a war.
The Achdus in Yrushalmi was bigger.
What I'm saying.
The Achdus
It was bigger. I cannot say they didn't have their...
No, that's for Sholem. But this is, we're saying, this is not the, they're saying a guarantor has to get pleasure. Just like the seller has to get money in his hand, there has to be something tangible.
It has to feel that
And
there's something.
so usually the guarantor gets something because he's trusted. Because Reuven would never give money like that's the Lashon he said in the Mishnah. He said, Shaloi al munasai helvo. That's what Bananas thinks. Bananas says, now, after the loan, well, Johnny come lately. He's not giving, Reuven is not giving Shimon the money because of me. He gave it to him 2 years ago. Now he's choking him because he's a deadbeat. So what kind of pleasure do I have now? So in Talmud Yrushalmi land, they say, what do you mean? He stopped choking him. So I have the pleasure that he walked home alive. But in Bavli, they say, okay, but Lepoil, it's his pleasure. It's not my pleasure. His pleasure is his pleasure. My pleasure is my pleasure. So that's the machloikis between the Bavli and the Yrushalmi.
Wait, just excuse. This is the Yrushalmi?
Yeah. The bottom is the Yrushalmi. Yeah. And the more on a Lom the Shois, as the Rebbe says it, there's a machloikis in the Rishonim. How does the Orev work? One is that because Reuven takes money out of his pocket on my command, I say give it, and he gives it. So therefore, I become obligated. Other Rishonim say no. It's the fact that I have the pleasure that I am trusted, and therefore I'm picked as a guarantor. So again, that could again explain the machlokes between the Bavli and the Yrushalmi. After he already gave him the loan, you can't say.
But before he asked the loan, he would not get the loan if he wouldn't have a guarantor. So it's almost if I give you the loan.
Right. So that's the thing. Somebody showing him the Mukiyah says that the Ikka Shibud is because Reuven's pulling money out of his pocket because of me. Right. The other Rishonim say no, because they bring the Lashon of Reb Ashi in the Gemara in the middle of Baba Basra, Daf Kufa and Gimel, and so again, that could explain the machlokes between the Bavli and the Yrushalmi. The Bavli holds that it's only because Reuven pulled his money out on the behest of the Orev, but now he already did. But if you say Bahia Noah, but again, the first pshat is mamish beautiful. That the shaila is that the Orev get pleasure. So according to Yrushalmi, yeah, I got pleasure. Shimon walked home alive, I'm happy. Because Shimon and me are two hands of one body. So he walked home alive, I'm happy. I walk home happy. But according to the Bavli, okay, he walked home alive, Baruch Hashem, I'm happy for him. The more money in my account? No, there's no more money in my account. That's the machlokes of the Bavli and the Yrushalmi.
I mean, businesses always work like that. When somebody wants to have a job for the city to do something, right? So somebody in the city gets something, his job in the city to give a job to a contractor. You have option of 2 or 3 contractor, the same price. But the guy that give him the favor, he's the one to get the job. So he not guaranteed, but he gets something.
But halachically, the guy.
That's business.
But no,
any business.
In business, if you had the purpose of asking someone the price, and you know you're not going to take him, there's a problem with it.
You have to tell him.
You have to tell him.
I know situation.
Right. I had this a few times, and I said to the guy, "Tell me that you don't want my job. You just want to know what it will cost. I'll tell you." But don't drive me out on my time and make
Most people do it. It's not
Of course they do it.
It's a normal way to do it.
That is
You want to know how much to pay.
misleading. It's misleading.
So
And
the
then
question is over here, when the guy was choking, he was misleading. He says, don't choke him, I'll be the Oreb. Was misleading him?
No, it wasn't the same.
No, he just wants to say it. So he didn't mean to say, I'm going to get paid with the money. So it's a whole...
It's
It's a show.
So that's the type of the Yrushalmi.
You know somebody going to buy shoes. He knows the lady knows she's not going to buy shoes, but she bothered there for half an hour giving, let me try this, let me try this, and she knows in effect, I'm not going to buy shoes.
You're not allowed to
It's
do
a big avera.
Yeah,
It's the biggest avera
yeah,
can be.
yeah, for sure.
It's the same thing.
The what? No, they're trying to bar down the price, or
No, just to make a guy nuts. And you know you're not using them.
Half an hour, show me this, show me
When
this.
you're wasting the
Okay, I don't want
person's
anything.
time.
Then I'll go online and buy it online.
yeah. Or like when I
So a lady wants
No, it's dvorim.
it's some
not.
guy
Okay,
in
I
some
know.
boat a lot of nice case of wine. He thought I was saying it's cheap. I brought the first bottle of that L'chaim, and I told him, he says, "Oh, you go buy online." No, I don't. I go to a Jew that gives me a better price. It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad place to go. I'm saying it's just so you know, the guy who's giving you the price in one place don't think that the other place is not going to be cheaper. It's just like buying online. You know, I just the opposite. I also like the
Giving business to you is another beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's
But you get something back. It's always like that. I'm giving you a job with this guy. I make you a shit with this guy. So next time when I need something, you'll help me also. That's the way you work in business.
one hand washing other hand.
Exactly.
Like the David the Melech said, that you didn't have to help each other in business.
That's the whole
You
idea.
had the incessive to that at Amin.
Right. This is
One of the things is, I think
I-
maybe Ibn Ezra, I'm not sure, but incessive at Amin, because Amin comes first.
right.
But the problem is that
It's reminding me
by
that-
the Satmars is very known that they help the community. But in Bechadam,
Oh, come on, sorry.
I didn't hear it in the camera.
Let's listen to the first half that you said. You said a mile about Yidden. Okay.
It's also in the parsha where they say, "Ki tirei chamos anacha."
Robert Staras Marsov. That's how
The Rebbe asks, if every Jew love every Jew, how is it possible to
Hey,
say
sorry,
chamos anacha? How do you ever say it? You just daven and you say, "Baruch Hashem
they
Yishmerecha."
gotta have that.
You
The same
say,
with
"Hallel
yourself.
Mikabel HaMitzvot Hashem," and later on you see a chamos anacha. It's impossible to ever say it.
Okay. Again, let's summarize. Let me summarize the lomdus that the Rebbe has between the Bavli and Yrushalmi. This Levi doesn't want Reuven to choke Shimon. He tells Reuven, "Don't worry, I'm going to pay." So good. He doesn't choke him. The guy walks home. Whose pleasure is it? Shimon's pleasure. His wife, his children. Is it my pleasure? According to Yrushalmi, yes. This is mamish my pleasure, and therefore I got something,
Right.
and I'm a shubit without a kinyan. According to the Bavli, no, it's his pleasure, it's not my pleasure, and without a kinyan I can't be
I
mishal.
know that people after years and like let's say they help this guy, and they see the family, it gives them the pleasure of saying inside themselves, we help this guy, to prescribe, to be matzliach or whatever it is. It makes them happy too.
Okay.
Even though they're not physical.
The Yrushalmi
Some money.
says that this is so big.
That like
that
you say
this is so
shakoyach
big.
to a guy, he says my father always says be
Tangible.
careful when you say
Tangible
shakoyach to your father because it's there's a limit. It's over.
The Yrushalmi says that pleasure is so,
So
big
big.
that I'm become a shubit. Okay, let's talk in Avodas Hashem.
It's funny, Yrushalmi everybody is a Meshubet, it's the other one.
Yrushalmi.
Now, Avodas Hashem is like this. Baba Kama Baba Tzibah Basra is really one Masechta. It's just that they were so long, so they split it up into Baba Kama Baba Tzibah Baba Basra. It's explained, the Chassidus is brought in Kabbalah, it's all comes out from the Zohar, that the Arba Ovis Nazikim is all Abur, Ashur, this is all the Klippas. There's the 3 Klippas, the 4 Klippas, this is all it's all the Golus. It's all the Mazikim, all the Golus and the Klippas. So, Meseches Nezikin in general is the idea of getting rid of Golus.
Zikin.
Nezikin, damages.
So
Who is damaging us? Who is damaging us? The Golus is damaging us. Now we have 3 Geulas, the Keneged, the 3 Botim Mikdoshes, is Keneged Baba Bakama, Baba Metzia, and Baba Basra.
And what's the last one?
Baba Basra. This Golus is Keneged Baba Basra.
Baba Bas.
Almost
Yeah,
finished.
that's this what?
It's almost finished.
What does it? Almost finished. Which is the longest Masechta?
Basra.
Baba Basra. That's why this Golus is very long.
1,000 years.
As agreed.
Now what happens? The Rashi says, Eila Pekuda Mishkan, Mishkan Eidos. Why is it called Mishkan? The Eibusha took it as a mashkan. Not Chas V'Shalom was a churban. Just that the Eibusha took it away, but he has to give it back. So for there's Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Basra. How does Baba Basra start? The first was Pedic and Baba Basra. I remember learning it when I was in Yeshiva. I was in Manchester. I remember enjoying the first Pedic very much. It's not very difficult Pedic. It's not so yeshivish. But it's about Shutzvim Shacholku. How do you make a chalukah? How you build a wall? Build a wall? What kind of it? What kind of wall? The rocks?
Who pay for it?
Otazai? And I think it is.
Mexico, America.
Otazai, Donald Trump. Otazai. So that's starting with Sachas Baba Basra.
No, so who, halachically, no, who, which one is the good?
No, now we have to know the end of Baba Basra. The Yidna the Eibishter, there is the Avoneseichem Hoyom Avdilim Benechem Uvelekechem. The sins is a machitza between the Yidna and the Eibishter. The end of the Masechta is the halacha of Arvus, that there's a guarantor. That we owe money, the Yetzer Hara says, whoa, what do you mean, you owe me? Yetzer Hara is choking a Yid. At the end of Golos especially, Yetzer Hara is holding it, says, you belong to me, you told me you're doing another 25 Avedas. You know, remember, you told me you're giving me 1,655 Avedas. And you still didn't do all of them. And he's choking the Yid Kemat to death, so the Eibishter has to step in. The Eibishter has to step in. According to the Bavli,
I'll give you this. I'll give you that Averas.
Yeah, they says, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. Like Rabbi Yitzhak Adishevit. So I'll take care of it. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. So according to the Bavli Chotz, the Eibishter has to like put himself into it, kivyochel. But the ikid is that the Aloch and Mashenken, according to Yrushalmi, because the Yidden have Tsar, just the Tsar from the Yidden already is a Tsar to the Eibishter. And just that the Eibishter knows how much simcha the Yidden are going to have when the Klippa already let go of us. With that itself, he's Meshamed himself to bring the Geula. And that's why the Haloch is like Rabbi Shmuel. Because here is a machlokes between Benanas and Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel is a Kohen Gadol, Isha Chesed. And he says that the Eibishter, who's the guarantor, he's responsible. That's it. The end of Golos, he has to step in, and he has to take away the Yetzer Hara who has tinus against the Eden, and wipe him off the face of this earth. We're talking about the Achdus of Klal Yisrael, and
who is
the guarantor. He's the guarantor.
It's guarantor
between the Jews,
right,
and the Yetzer Hara.
It wasn't after; it was before.
So now it's after. The Yidden already, unfortunately, already involved with the Yetzer Hara. We said it doesn't matter. The Eibishter has to feel the tzar of the Yid, and Mela he has to bring the Geula.
It's all choking us.
Has the Yetzer Hara have a claim that we should know the Averas?
What do you mean? Because we're doing business, he says, a long time already. Why do you want to walk away from me now? Well, yeah, he feels entitlement.
He became very big now. He feels entitled.
So, Shabbos, I told over a story and someone made the Tikkun Torah, so I looked it up again. I just want to have it straight. The story is told by one of the people that worked in the Rebbitzon's house. And he said that the Rebbitzon asked him, she wants to go to a store to buy a thermos. She went in, she bought three of them, which are large.
This story is true.
And yeah, I looked it up again because Yankelovich macht Tikkun Torah, so I want to tell it over.
That story I said is not true. The one with the...
Oh, no, I didn't tell the story. That story I didn't tell. I know I didn't tell it for a reason. I didn't tell it because we had here once a fellow.
Notik was here.
Yeah, and he said, okay, so therefore I'm not telling that story. But this story, I had some orders. Right, that's why I want to tell it over. Okay. And I looked it up at Duke. And she came home, and the Rebbitzin cooked up a big soup. She put in a lot of vegetables. It was a chicken soup, but she put in a lot of vegetables. The Rebbe came home, and she gave him a bowl of soup. And the rest of the soup, she took out the chicken from the bones, and she put in the blender. and she blended up the soup, and she filled up a thermos, and she said, "We're going out to Manhattan." And she went with this fellow who was helping her, drove the car, and they went to to Cornell Hospital. And she went. She was in the hospital for a quarter of an hour, and she came back. Listen to this. The next day, she went again. Third day, she was Erev Shabbos, so she told this fellow, "I can't go with you, but I ask you a favor to go to the same hospital." She gave her the
room and the
address. So please bring. She filled up two of them for Friday and for Shabbos, a thermos with soup. She said, "Bring it to the person." Came into the room. It was a woman. So the woman was like startled. So he said that, I'm bringing you from Rebbe Tznushnes, and I'm bringing you the soup for today and for tomorrow for Shabbos. The woman said, Rebbe Tznushnes? What, the wife of the Lubavitcher Rebbe? He said, yeah, you don't know who's bringing you the soup? She said, no, I didn't know. I had no idea. Okay. Good Shabbos. I'm excited. Sunday, the Rebbetzin again had a soup blended. She again filled up a thermos, and she's going to the hospital. She went into the hospital, and just a couple of minutes later, she came out. She seemed upset, and she turned to the fellow and said, "Did I ask you to report what my identity is?" She was really upset about it. She didn't want a person would feel uncomfortable. But no, she wanted to do it as she wanted to do it as a friend, as someone. So that's the difference between the Bavli and the Yrushalmi. In the Yrushalmi, if it's a hanoah to another yid, this is my hanoah. Because it's two hands of one body.
That's why.
Two hands of one body.
That's why the Israelis have extra warmth of fire.
Two hands of one body.
Avi.
They give you a little musr because they feel like they're like you. They're part of you. Then Yerushalmi, Memela, if the chonik is chaveroi and the order says let him go, so he's meshubed because it's his pleasure. Mashayk in the Bavli, it's his pleasure. It's not my pleasure.
Yeah.
So the Eibush is helfen that coming from into this parsha, which is parshas Truma, which is about Mishkan. The Eibush is helfen that we should finally get out of the last Golus, and we should get into the last Geula, to the Baba Basra of the Geula. The Geula Amitzvah Vashlema, Yidei Mashiach Tzedkenu, with the third Beis Hamikdash, which is Godel Yeh Koved Abayis Haza'achrim Min Arishan B'Mheira V'Imenu Mamash.